Reeve Stadium, Beaver Falls, Geneva College. It's your Pratte Pack. Another stop on a very busy Friday. We're heading into the Student Union to talk to head football coach Geno DeMarco. But it's going to be a conversation that has a lot to do with this place of higher learning, one of my favorite places, beautiful College Hill, Beaver Falls, and this incredible campus, rich history. But we're going to talk about his faith and, yeah, football too. So come on inside and let's begin with some faith from the head coach of the Geneva College Golden Tornadoes, entering his 32nd year, Geno DeMarco. Right now, come on.
To me, the verse that talks about I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me is to me that isn't a verse that's just given out and you just say those magic words and you can do anything. That was actually a verse that Paul wrote about when he was in prison. And no matter when things are great or when things are really, really difficult, we can have this incredible contentment in Christ. So when he says, I can do all things in Christ, it's about being, like what you've gone through in the last couple of weeks. In that type of situation where it could be, when great things happen. And the reason for that is he is consistent. I mean, he's the standard. He's our model and our reflection of what truly God is, because he came in human form.
Why is it that I just find such solitude in Geneva College? And I, came here after a long morning and early afternoon, pretty much nonstop, and I walked into this incredible meeting of these freshman football players, just standing up and telling everyone who they are, where they're from, what they like, why they're here. And man, it's just the euphoric feeling, Geno. I can't explain it. Walking by Old Main and parking my car, overlooking Reeve Stadium, getting ready for another football season. And I see all these incredible young minds taking that first step of the rest of their life. This is such an incredible place, is it not?
Well, we're blessed, and there are a lot of incredible places. There really are. But for us, this place is special. It's home. It's a place that I needed. Somebody asked me at Media Day, why Geneva? Why stay for so long? Why did you come to Geneva? And honestly, when I transferred from a football school because for me in high school, football was it. It was everything. And I had it at that school, and I realized there was something else that was missing. And I decided to transfer back here to Geneva College, where, Rob, I was a lot like you at New Brighton. I'm telling you, if we compared grades, I'm not so sure my grades were better than yours. I could almost guarantee you. But when I came here, professors and people outside of athletics, whether it was, the instructors in the classroom or people in student development, they cared about you, cared about me as a person. And you and I are in a performance-based business.
That's it.
You've done it your entire life.
That's all I know.
That's all you know. And when you're doing well, people like you. And when I win football, and when we win football games, people love me.
They all love you.
And when we don't win football games, I'm the bum. Right? But because this place is built as a true Christian college, God loves us, period. And there's no
Win or lose.
Win or lose, good or bad, yeah. And that became very, very evident to me. And I mean, it's why for me, being in the position I'm at Geneva, this is not a difficult thing. I don't sell this place. I just talk about it.
You do.
Yeah.
Here's what's amazing. 32 seasons, winningest coach in the history. Yes, what I love about this school, it's not all about winning and losses. It's about building character and having young men to go on and do incredible things like being husband, father, in a faith-based situation in their community, preaching, whatever, helping, ministering. All of the above all of the people that have come through Geneva during your time here, I've ran into so many of them who go back to their time here. Whether it was a great year or not, it was the time they spent here. How do you feel looking at all of these young men as you were with today? Here we go again. But the great thing is like a recipe, because you never know which ingredient is going to just make it that perfect pot of sauce. You get it?
I mean, you know, we got about 65 young men upstairs who got all kinds of dreams, all kinds of thoughts of, you know, what they're going to do. I think if they were honest, it would be like, you know, the three of us, that at one point there's probably a little bit of anxiety going on, and you know, they're taking on a new phase of their life. And you look at these guys, and the toughest thing about football is, you know, we go out there, we're wearing helmets, we got pads all over. Nobody sees a face. Nobody sees that these are really people. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So when you got these kids standing up, and I'll tell you what, we got some big kids, and they talk about what their favorite thing is, whatever, and it's like, whoa, there's a human being inside that football unit.
Right. Well, you've always been able to do that, treat them as humans, and really kind of plug into them and get to know who they are, because you've been there. And you remember when you wanted to be that face and that voice that was heard. And it really does come down to what you do on the field of athletics. But next week, the journey begins. And hopefully Mother Nature will be a little kinder with the heat. But what's it like being at this stage in your life? The perspiration, the sweat, the tears, the anxiety. And you and I have been dealing with that anxiety thing our whole life. We kind of similar, kindred spirits. But it's getting a whole lot easier now the older I've gotten. I don't know, it's because I realized I'm closer to retirement than I was, say, 20, 30 years ago when I was grinding 24/7. Still do it, but it's not about the end result, taking care of the family, because they're taking care of themselves. But do you still have that same feeling in your gut the night before it begins that you had 32 years ago?
Oh, before these guys came in, I was down in the weight room lifting like a maniac because I had all kinds of anxiety. Like, are we going to get them all here? Are they going to show up? You know, is the 6'4" kid that we thought we were recruiting still going to be 6'4"? Just crazy stuff, as you and I have talked in the past. But yeah, if you don't have that, I mean, you got to have a little bit of stress to get up in the morning. Otherwise, you lay in bed. So I think the thing about what you said is, you know, in years we've just continued to grind and had that whole that work ethic that was beyond. It was almost an obsession.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize the time has gone like this.
That quick.
And now we're, like you're saying, you've had some friends that you've lost, you know, and we're at a point now where everybody has been saying this our whole life. And this is the one thing that you have done, Rob, with people all over the Pittsburgh area. It's about relationships. You can't go anywhere in Pittsburgh without somebody knowing who Rob Pratte is, because you have done this. And what you're doing now with these videos and going different towns in Western PA and over in Ohio and down into West Virginia and doing all these stories. I told you before, this is going to end up being part of your legacy when you're gone. You know, some people write books, some people can paint, you know, some people know how to coach football and lose games like me.
Well,
but you are doing something right here.
You and I kind of have this thing about divine intervention. He's walked a straighter path than I have, but every once in a while I get back on the right path and I stay there for a while. This is how small the world is. So Beaver Falls has always been very important to me for a number of reasons. And it's not just D&G Pizza, but it's pretty close. Hot dog shop, the whole works. Brother-in-law's from here at Manzetti. John
Right.
went to school here. My sister Renee, they live back now in Chippewa. She went to school here. But my daughter Eva, this is just one of the many things, and maybe you all will get it because I tried to explain it to her and she just kind of just being gracious. Okay, Dad, that's nice. So right after my mother dies, I'm at St. Cecilia's Church in Rochester, now Our Lady of the Valley of Peace. And my mother's best friend was Yolanda Goodwall, okay? And Yolanda and her grew up together. My mother in her wedding, her maid of honor, Goodwall, Bango, meaning Pratt, Eva, Yolanda, always. They were as thick can be. So my daughter's namesake is Eva. So right after my mother dies, I'm in church, And lo and behold, I get a tap on my shoulder. It's Yolita Goodwall. And I'm like, Yolita, this is Eva. Eva, this is Yolita. So now we are, these years later, Eva graduates from Penn State. She gets a job in Beaver Falls. And she's working for the magistrate, Dirk Goodwall. Now wait, the nephew of Yolita Goodwall. Now, I don't care what anybody tries to tell me. You can go round and round and try to explain to me, get out the magic wand, what have you. But there's got to be something to that. The nephew of my mother's best friend, namesake Goodwall, and another Eva Pratte, associated with that name, and coming to Beaver Falls to work every day. And I don't think she even gets how I tell her how lucky you are to be able to go to the city of Beaver Falls. You got to believe in some divine intervention. Right?
I mean,
come on.
I don't think that it was per chance that I decided to leave this football mecca that I had in my mind and where I was at another place.
Right.
To come here and actually sit in these booths in 1980. After I had said, I will never come to Geneva. I mean, I said that in 1978 at New Brighton High School. There's no way I'm going to Geneva. No way. And now I don't want to leave.
But think of this, and let me just say this about Geno, because, it's a mutual admiration society.
Yeah.
Incredible coach. D1, Georgia Tech, WVU, could have done anything at this level, could have gone down as one of the greatest high school coaches of all time. But you stayed here through good and bad. And let's face it, it's not like it's easy to get the best of the best to come here. You've got to go out and really pound the pavement. And that's why I think this school is so important to so many people, because of the education, faith-based. And when you come here, you're coming here for a number of unique reasons, and that's why I love it. But when there were times you could have easily left, people wanted you to leave, you just didn't. Have you ever, at one moment in your life, said, I wish I would have? Be honest.
There are guys that I've coached that have been head NFL coaches.
I know that.
And I think from a professional standpoint, maybe once or twice you think about the what if, but truthfully, the what if thing doesn't apply when you feel like, and you said it, you called it divine intervention. We call it God's calling here. It's crazy to say that, but I have an opportunity to have my 4 daughters and my wife graduate from Geneva, and I found 4 son-in-laws that play ball for me or coach for me. And not just for me, but they're Geneva guys and they love the Lord. So I'm a blessed man. I really am. I mean, do I want to win more football games and stay up at night? Yeah. Does it bother me now that we were picked midpoint in the pack? It bothers me a whole lot. We have some incredible football teams when we were nationally recognized. Yeah. Is that all there is? No. That's not all there is. Even back then when that was happening, when we won a championship, the next question would be, are you going to be able to win again? Are you going to be able to do this? Are you going to be able to make, this happen? And at some point, you think, you realize, what is success? And success to me is the very thing we're talking about. If I can live out what Paul was writing and say I can be content when things are great, and I can be content when things are bad, and I can do all things through Christ, and that's what he was talking about, that very contentment.
Well, but this is what
if I can do that, if you could do that, if I can live that way, if you could live that way, to me, that is the greatest success ever.
I know, it is. But this is what's so amazing about this whole journey. So his high school coach, Larry Matrazzo,
right.
His daughter is the mother of my 2 children.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't get any more Beaver County than that. And we've got a Makuga now coaching at our alma mater.
Right.
You can't write this stuff.
No. But all these videos that you're doing and going around and talking with people, let's face it, you put a camera in front of somebody like this, I haven't shut up. This is the most I've talked all day.
Don't you feel better though? It's
Yes,
nice
I
to
do.
talk, because I want people to hear the story.
I do feel better. And this is what I'm telling you is how many times a day do you do this?
Too many.
How many times a day you do this?
A lot.
All right. Do you realize how many people you touch in one day?
I hope so.
I know so.
But I also want people to know that bad things happen to good people. For nothing you have done wrong. It's just that thing that is life. So that is why I like to do things that are hopeful, to let people know there's always something to be hopeful about when you least expect it. You know, for instance, you know, I leave College Hill and I make the turn by D&G Rental. I'm back on the main street of Beaver Falls, 7th Avenue. Who knows what each red light's going to bring me along the way?
Well, if you stop at the first one, park the car, you can get some D&G pizza.
Man, I can still hear that screen door slamming behind me, you know, on a hot summer night. But let's talk football, and then we're going to let you get out of here.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey, we have this incredible young lady.
Yeah, and she's got to go somewhere, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Recently married, and she's a senior here at Geneva.
You know, I think when I retire, maybe you could find a job for me here, because I'm always happy when I'm here.
Yeah.
I love this place. I'll even take out the trash, whatever you need me to do.
Sure.
What about your football team? Let's just talk about your football team.
Well, we've got to be able to find enough offensive linemen to run this offense. I mean, that's priority number one. We've got a lot of really good, you know, prospects, players. We have to replace a lot of experience. We lost a lot of kids that played a lot of snaps here in the last 3 years on the offensive line. But the challenge, every man wants a challenge. This is something that we'll focus in on camp. Like, this is focus number one.
Do you ever think, last thing, when you're sitting here, like we are before the students come in, and you know the chairs are up on the table and everybody's getting cleaned up and reddened up and can't wait, and there's starting to be more and more traffic in the parking lot starting to fill up each and every day the closer we get to the school season and the football season. But names like Hubbard and names like Bruno, the Larry Bruno Foundation, I mean Joe Namath, I mean people that have been connected to this place on the football field or have gone to school here. And obviously past presidents, current presidents, people that we've known who have graduated from here. Do you ever just kind of soak all that in when you have some downtime thinking, man, there's a heck of a resume here?
Haven't done that. Here.
I do it every time I come here.
I mean, as far as like the tradition and the people that come out of Geneva College, yes. But as far as myself, not so much. I mean,
how can you not though think how not
because
fortunate, but you've written your own place. It's more than a chapter. I hope you realize that in Geneva's history.
it's just, I can tell you this. I knew that the players were coming in at 8 a.m., right?
Mm-hmm.
I knew when it was 7:55, I start getting this feeling, and it happens every time this year. I'm looking at that clock, and it's like, at 8 o'clock, my life's going to change dramatically for the next 6 months.
What I'm looking at that wedding band.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, you're so lucky to be married to the woman you're married to, because your life has been this place. And I've never met anybody more passionate about what you do. I can still tell you, when you walk into a high school stadium and you would do games with me years ago, everybody knew who you were. Not because you were, you know, larger than life, or you were always, you know, bragging on what you were doing, or, you know, trying to get some article in the paper or whatever, or time on the radio or television. It's because how you carried yourself.
Yeah,
and I believe that has a lot to do with your family and who you are.
I appreciate it, but I think we need to end this thing, and
we'll end it when I said we're going to end it.
We can end it. We can end it in maybe just a humorous manner. I think the reason people remember me is because I'm one of very, very few people who does not have hair, eyebrows, or eyelashes.
Listen,
so that face they can remember.
Listen, I'll tell you this: we did television years ago, full head of hair, eyebrows, and everything that went with it. I wish you nothing but the best. Last thing, what's your message to prospective individuals, young students, future, those who are going to graduate next year? What is it about Geneva that's the total package? I know from my heart it's hope. It's everything you would ever want for your children.
It is hope. I think so many times people look at a school, and I know I did. I mean, you're looking at something like, this is what is going to give me the ultimate satisfaction is playing in a football program that won a national championship, and this is going to be it. But I think that this is a place that's going to invest in you, and what they're investing is the gospel of Christ, and it may not come to fruition, or it may not come to knowledge the whole time you're here. It may happen when you're 63. It may happen whenever.
All right, don't wait. 'Cause every time we do these videos, you jump out before I say goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
I love you.
Love you, buddy.
Good night, everybody.
All right.